Hello everybody, here we're gonna begin this session with the given assignment or the window. Actually, I have covered some other cases related to the window to teach you these lessons completely, since these items are very important and are applicable in all of the projects. And I want to respect those who have done the assignment, since this shows their attentions and how they are interested in learning Revit. Anyway, let us start. As you can see, I have opened a family template file of windows, and then right here, first of all, I open family types of the windows. As you can see, we got height and width. For example, 2 meters. Apply, check it out. Following that, I wanna add some reference planes to the window. By this way, I sketch this one horizontally, since I'm gonna divide my window into 2 parts. As I showed you in the last session, then here I measure the distance, as I told you in the last session, to associate to a parameter by creating a new parameter, and then in type, I name it base or base height. Well done. Let me test the associated parameter. As I told you before, I really emphasize on testing the parameters. Check it out. This is working correctly. And if I modify height, 2 meters for height, well done. Okay. So till now everything is okay. Undo. Right now I'm gonna design or model the frames of the window. We got 3 horizontal frames, as you can see, one at the top and the others in middle and bottom. But guys, note that first of all, you should open the template file of the windows for the family. Since we are modeling a window list, let me show you the list of template files here in the list of families, as you can see, and then open metric window. This is the first step. However, if you use metric generic models, you have to convert the family into the windows category. Well done. Let's go on. Let me model the frames or the mullions of the window. However, we need 2 vertical mullions too. To do this, I open the family, new family. I'm gonna open a new template family file. Right now there is no difference between generic models and windows. I open generic models by this way. Please watch this part attentively, since it is very important. And then I pick extrusion tool, and by using drawing tools, rectangle, like this way, and finish. So this is a profile, as you can see, that we can use it. And then I'm gonna sketch a reference plane right here, as you can see. Here we got 2 ways to control the stretchiness of this profile, or in other words, to control the extending, the length. First of all, let me show you the differences between these 2 ways. Here if I click on edit family, and then I measure the distance to associate it to a parameter, which is length, since I'm gonna control the length by this parameter. By this way, okay. And then in instance parameters, in type properties, it does not make difference. I open the parameter properties and then I check instance. Since I'm gonna change this type or this model specifically. Here if I load this profile inject, actually in family 1, or the family in which I'm modeling the window, here if I select the profile, I should specify a value for length. And there is no shape handles to control the length of the profile. But what is the alternative way for controlling the length of the profile? Here we can align the width to a reference plane, and then I lock it. Then I measure the distance between these 2 reference planes to associate it to a parameter. Right now, as you can see, the profile is aligned with 2 reference planes in 2 sides. Since I want to get access to these shape handles, I associate this dimension to length, then I load it in a project. Right now, watch this. Right now, as you can see, we got the shape handles to control the stretchiness or the length of the profile. So here we learned the thing, that when we are modeling a family, if we associate the parameter to the sketch itself or to the geometry, we got no shape handles. But if we associate the parameter to the sketched reference planes and then connect the object or geometry to the reference planes and then associate the parameter, we will be given the shape handles for controlling the length. Right now I specify it as type. I change the property. OK. And then I load it into project. Override. Let's check it out. As you can see, the shape handles are not visible. So there is two conditions for modifying a length of the profile by the shape handles. First of all, you should have associated the parameter to the reference planes which are connected to the geometry. And secondly, the parameter should be assigned as an instance parameter, not type. At such a condition, you will be given the shape handles. I place it right here, and later I will talk about the work plane settings and how to set the work planes, since we will deal with it in the future sessions. Here we got the profile or the family. As you can see generic models. Let us make the wide parametric. For instance, I associate the parameter, dimension, and then the label. I name the parameter, for example, profile or width of the profile. OK, finish. And then I'm gonna make the height parametric by extrusion end. We can associate extrusion end to a new parameter named height, or edge height of the profile. Well done. Let me test the created parameters. 20 centimeters for height and 20 for width. Well done. And the changes are being applied from the bottom of the geometry. Then I want to load it into the other family by this way. I open the edit type. I assign the dimensions 5 in 5. Well done. And then for width, I'm gonna associate or make the width of the profile dependent to the width of the window and also the length. Since this should be equal to each other, associate length to width, and this is the result. Then I'm gonna place these at the middle. If I want to place the profile at the middle, I should align the center of the profile with the line, the reference plane, because it should be positioned at the center at the middle always. So to align the profile with the middle of the window, you have to create or sketch reference planes in the family of the profile. So I open edit family by this way, so I can move it the profile to here. I sketch a reference plane right here, and then I associate length to the new reference plane, and let me modify the parameter. By this way, I associate it to another reference plane. But before that, let me equalize the distances between the reference planes by this way, and then I connect the profile to the reference plane and locked. And if the icon of the lock was not visible, you can use align and then make sure that they are locked. And then I associate length. Well done. And we need a reference plane at the center or at the middle of the profile. It is not that much complicated. Here we can make the distances between the lines of the geometry and also the reference planes equalized. As you can see, equalized. And then finish. So let's test the parameters. 20, check this out. As you can see, we got two reference planes which are crossing each other at the center of the profile, and it's time to load it into the family. By this way, override. Then I can align the profile with the middle or the center of the window, horizontally and vertically locked. By this way, I open interior view, check the position of the profile by enabling wireframe graphic style. Right now I should move it and place it right here. Since now it is placed at the new position, it should be aligned with the reference planes at the frame of the window. By this way, here an error message is displayed. It means that you have selected the wrong side of the window, the profile. Here the solution is to isolate the profile and the reference planes By this way, I can make sure that the correct object or geometry is aligned with the reference plane. Well done, desolate. We need one more profile at the middle, as I'm showing you. So I make a copy and then place it at the middle of the window. Right here, one more copy to place it at the top of the window. So we got 3 profiles. Here there is no difference to align which sides of the profile with the reference plane. I align the top surface of the profile with the reference plane. Well done. Watch this. Let me align the top part by this way. Here if I open edit type and then modify the height of the profile, for instance 10 in 10 for example, by this way 10 for width and height is extending from the top, while the bottom one is extending from the bottom. And this is all because of the aligned parts with the reference planes. And it does not make difference. You choose which part or which surface to align it to the reference plane. I check them into the view, they are correctly positioned. Let me test the width of the window. These should be matched with each other, check this out. As I mentioned before, enable the wireframe graphic style, since may some parts of the profiles placed inside the window or hide the window, so we can consider the place of the profiles better in the isolation. Well done, let's go for the next step, which are the frames or the profiles which are going to be duplicated, and I'm gonna explain how to create them. In order to create them and work with them in the project, first of all I pick to rotate tool, and then I rotate it in 90 degrees, and then you will see that the rotation here is not allowed. As you can see, I wanted to make a copy, rotate it, but they are copied at the same place. Here we should create another object for our vertical profiles or frames. Again, I open a new family template file. I open metric generic models, and this is a better way, since later you may want to associate different materials. So we got new limitations. I pick extrusion tool, and then I sketch a rectangle, and then I measure the distance by this way, and then equalized very well, vertically and horizontally, and then by this way equalized. And then I place the total dimensions. I didn't sketch the reference planes, and I'm using the default reference planes. I associate the parameters. This is the width of the vertical profile, so W var width vertical profile. I make a copy, click on OK, and then I associate the next parameter, height vertical profile. By this way, height of the vertical profile. Finish, let's check it out. Then in left view, I sketch a reference plane horizontally to connect the geometry to the reference plane, and then by using extrusion and I can control height. However, there is no difference. I create a new parameter and then I name it vertical height by this way. Okay. I load it into the family and then place it right here by this way. Then I align it with the reference plane from the left side, locked, and also from the middle or center and locked. And if you want to make sure that the profile is correctly aligned, you can isolate it as I told you before. Then in the temporary isolate, I align it. So you can use this technique while you want to align and specific up some reference planes. So here we got separate parameters for the vertical profile. However, if you want, you can associate the parameters of the vertical and the horizontal profiles. Here in interior view, as usual, I pick align tool. I want to move the profile and align it with the reference plane. Since here we got the horizontal profile, as you can see, I sketch a reference plane on the surface of the profile, and I measure the distance between these two reference planes. You should learn these details. I associate these to a new parameter. For example, I name it thickness. Okay. but thickness is dependent to the height of the profile. I mean, if I modify the value of height in the properties, H profile 70, as you can see, we got a constraint here, so we should remove the constraint if we want to modify the height. I mean, T or thickness is dependent to the height profile. So what should we do here? Here we can, do something else. Instead of associating thickness parameter, which is we want it independent, while thickness and height got problem with each other. Since if we want to modify the height of the profile, thickness does not permit, so we should delete it. I sketch another reference plane here, and then I'm gonna define a new parameter. Then I measure the distance. I'm gonna associate it to thickness, and it is not locked. Check this out. They are overlapping each other, but they are not constrained to each other. Right now, if I open the type properties and modify the height of the profile, for instance 70, as you can see, length is modified independently, but I want to do something to make thickness dependent to the height, or vice versa, make the height dependent to thickness. Again, I select the profile to open the type. Here I can associate the height of the profile to thickness by this way, so they will be with each other. So right now, if I modify the value of thickness, which is same as the height of the profile, apply, check this out. As you can see, they are being modified with each other, and this shows the connection between these two parameters. Right now, I should move the vertical profile and these reference plane, and aside of this reference plane, I isolate the profile, the vertical profile, and also the reference planes, and then I align it to the reference plane and also locked, as you can see from the bottom surface and also from the side surface. Well done. Let's work on the height of the vertical profile. Here the height of the vertical profile is equal to the subtraction of thickness from base height. So I'm gonna create a new parameter. For instance, I name it. Actually, we have to name the parameters correctly, accurately. Profile base height, or the height that we want to use it for the vertical profile. And then we're gonna define a formula. Since we're gonna subtract thickness from the value of base height minus, then inside the parentheses, 2 multiple in thickness, since we got two horizontal profiles. Well done. And then I associate the height of the profile to the defined parameters. I associate it to pro base height. Okay. Check it out. Here we can even control the joining of these two, or the order that the profiles are placed. And if you wanted to modify the order, again you should sketch two reference planes and then define a formula for the horizontal profiles. Then you have to subtract the value of thickness from width. I make a copy from the profile to place it at the top part. Then I align it with the reference planes. I press tab to select the reference plane. But if you want to make sure that it is well aligned, you should isolate them. And this is a better idea and way. Here, in type properties, I make a copy from pro base height, as you can see. Then I create a new parameter. I name it pro top height, since these two are different to each other. Right now I want to define a new formula for pro top height, or top profile height. So at first I define height and then minus. I want to subtract the value of height base from height and then subtract it from thickness by this way. Okay, 630. Let us test the parameters. I measure the distance, 630. Well done. So I select the profile to associate it to the new parameter. I wanna connect the height, but something else is associated. already associated. When we load a family into the project and then we want to associate two parameters, firstly pro base height and secondly pro top height, we should create a new duplication. I click on duplicate, even you can name it top. I create a new type, then as you can see the dimensions are removed, so I can associate these three parameters from scratch. I associate vertical height to pro top height. Well done. Till now we have passed the most parts of the process, and here we got the window, the 3D view, and after that we're gonna work on the last part of the window. As I told you before in the last session, we got three parts at the upper part which are fixed. I pick array tool, move to last, I place it here, and then I specify the number 4. Check this out. I lock the last profile to the reference plane by this way, and we're finished. And after that I open family types. Here if I modify width 2 meters for example, as you can see the distance between the profiles is adjusted to. But about the bottom part, here if I pick array tool and then I move it to last, for example I place it here, and then I want to specify the number of the array, for example 4. We got the same process. I want to array the last profile to the reference plane, just like the top part, and constrained or locked. But we're going to associate a parameter to the number of the profiles for the bottom part actually. Okay, I wanted to check the height. Here as you can see, we can control the number 4. If it wasn't selected, you can use tab. I associate these to a parameter. And then in parameter properties, I name it n for example. At such a condition, you may want to use some conditional formulas to control the number of the profiles of the bottom part. Here I'm gonna tell you two examples. Firstly, by using conditional formulas or if, but the best way doesn't need to use conditional formulas. So we will work on both approaches, and then you'll understand that using conditional formulas it is not necessary here. I paste width here, which is 2 meters, divide into 500 millimeters, and okay. And this is the result for profiles. But what is the distance between the profiles? Let me measure it. Check this out. Nearly 50 centimeters. I wanted it smaller, so I divided into 400 millimeters. Okay, let me measure the distance. As you can see, 407. Well done. Here I got a question for you. We will need this dimension for the dimensions of the glass material. But about my question, the distance between these two profiles, or in other words, in the empty parts between these two profiles in bottom and top part, how much space do we have? Here I create a new parameter. For instance, I name it width for, let me check. For example, base panel width, panel width, okay. How can I specify the value of base panel width? I'm gonna define a formula by using width. I make a copy, width, I paste it there. I'm gonna subtract width from n, or the number, which is 5 right now, as you can see, since we got 5 profiles in the bottom part. Since we got 5 profiles, we should multiple 5 in the thickness, minus 5 multiple in t, or thickness. Then I click on OK. Well done. Let me check the value, 1650, and then I want to divide the result in 4, which is n minus 1. Since here if we got 5 profiles, as you can see we got in the bottom part, we got 5 profiles. There are 4 empty parts between them. Value is 412.5. I measure the distance 407.8, and the reason is because we have only associated one of the sides of this profile to the parameter of thickness. Let me check. Actually, we haven't associated the parameter. I associated to t. Well done. I associate both of them right now. They are parametric. Well done. Finish. I measure the distance one more time. 411.8.6 actually. Let me zoom in. I think these two are not. Yes, I connect them to each other and locked. Well done. And I check the other side. So don't forget to align it to the reference plane and locked. If I measure the distance again, 412.5. Well done. Here another part is left. I should open edit types, and as you remember, I have defined a formula for base panel width minus 5 multiple in t. I want to replace n with 5 multiple in t, so that if we modify the value of width, it affects on the numbers too. So here in the formula of base panel width, I replace n with the number of 5. Well done. So that this would be more correct. Let us test it. 600 for example for base height. Apply and OK. Watch this part please. You may have such a problem. The height of the profiles in the top part are not similar to each other. This would happen when we align on a specific object and then we use array tool for the duplication. Should align them with the reference plane and locked again. Let's check it out. Otherwise, the previous action would occur, but right now it is fixed by just the alignment and also locking it to the reference plane. So again, if I modify the value of width, we will see that if they are working correctly or not. 400 for example. Okay, as you can see, they are aligned with the reference plane. Well done. This time I want to modify height. 2 meters. Okay. I want you to do not ignore this part. Test every and each of the parameters. For example, thickness 4 centimeters. As you can see, we got the same problem since these profiles are not aligned and locked. As you can see, there is a small gap. I press tab to select the reference plane. I extend it by this way, and then I align the profiles with the reference plane. Right now they are fixed. So we should test and check all of the parameters and make sure whether they are working correctly. By this way, if there was something wrong, you can be informed and fix it. I associate both of these to thickness, vertical height and width vertical profile. By this way, well done. Until now there is no problem. I modify width 2 meters. Well done. We have tested all of the parameters and everything is okay. So we can continue the process.